What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Overdose. I'm your host, Don Jaye. Today I'm joined with a special guest. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jaye, and I'm a model and an actress.
And where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Chidera with 3A's.xo.
All right, today's video we're about to do is why women are selfish and never loyal. Before we jump into the video, make sure you guys like, make sure you guys subscribe, join the Patreon army, help us become super independent. Let's get it. So, why women are selfish and never loyal before we even jump into the video?
I mean, I think we just want it all.
Okay.
To be honest, I know, it's gonna take a lot for me to sit there and be loyal to you. I like having options because options never fail you. If one of them fails you, you got 8 more options on the back. So
damn, we got an honest person here with us
honest.
today. So for you, it's just having that cushion. I guess.
Yeah,
okay.
I like a buffer, as you should.
Guys, did you hear this right now? I'm talking to you. She's not here right now. Have a buffer too. So I say this a lot, and a lot of women get upset with me. A lot of women get mad when I tell guys this or when I say this in general. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You do need to be talking to multiple women. You do need to be having conversations. I'm not saying fucking them, but still talking to them because as the man, they not coming up to you. You got to come up to them. So for them, they're in the buyer's seat. So they got to sit back, relax, and accept these offers. But you have to go out there and actually, talk to these women. So it's not the same thing as if a woman is like, oh, yeah, oh, you out here cheating because you're going out and you're trying to talk to bitches and blah, blah. No, I'm just gathering my options, boo-boo. So I'm just letting y'all know that. Let's move on with the video.
What he do? It's your boy Steph.
God damn, nigga. What the fuck?
It's some men out here that want families. There's some men out here that want children.
Yeah.
Maybe for whatever reason, right? Maybe because their father didn't treat them right when they were young, or they just want to know what it feels like to have a child. And then for a scorned woman, a woman that is no good, a woman that is mentally ill, mentally sick, takes away 3 of her children, not just her children, 3 of their children, which is the man's children as well. Just take them away. And fellas, we're not talking about taking them away from a different state, killing them, and they're never coming back.
Wait, hold on. This shit getting serious. What the fuck going on?
Death is something that, everyone takes differently. But death from your children, I don't know what that's like. I don't wish that on no person. And who failed us yet again? The system. Because the system doesn't care about fathers. The system doesn't care about the man having custody of the children.
Okay, this is a serious video, so I got to get my serious face and serious thing going on. So let me... Alright, I just checked. Alright, now I'm serious. Alright, so for you personally, when it comes to your dating life and your situationships, whatever you want to call them, are you dating with a purpose? Are you dating just to have fun at this stage? What are you actually looking for when you are dealing with men, women? I don't know what you do. So
I think when I was younger, I think I was dating more for fun to see what I liked, what I didn't like. But I think now, while I'm still young, I'm 20 and everything, now I'm kind of dating more for a long-term commitment and everything, just because my mom got married younger and everything, and we're Nigerian, so the culture, you're getting married a little younger and everything, and so I'm kind of looking more so for someone who's maybe not ready right now for the commitment, but has the potential to be ready in a few years.
You just want to know them already.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, and for you personally, what age are you looking to get married and have kids and settle down and etc.?
I think maybe I am definitely someone, I want my career. I want to make a name for myself and make my own money, get my own bag and everything. But I think that I'd be looking somewhere around 25, 26 marriage, and then kids kind of just comes with who the person is and what the agreements with that are. So
okay, and then for you, is there, I guess, a time limit to be with the person before you get married and have kids, or no, not really?
There's not a time limit, but there are some things that kind of need to happen within the relationship. See how we can handle conflict, things like that, for me to be okay, because you're like you don't marry or like want to be with someone long term to get a divorce or anything like that. Like, so you want to know that you can that you guys can work through certain situations, and I think that's not something time can tell. That's just something like situations can bring. So
Okay.
Even though the mother was sick, system don't care. System never cared. Child support and putting men on child support and taking the custody away from the man is profitable in today's society. It's profitable. Even when the woman had an underlying mental ill problem, yet they still give her custody and give her the children.
I'm trying my best to relate it to you because I know you don't have kids, and I know this is a more serious topic, and you're much more of a free spirit in a sense. So I'm trying my best to relate it. But for you personally, when it comes to your family and your, I guess, brothers or cousins or whatever, any male figures in your life, have you seen them struggle with, I guess, families, court systems, or things of that nature?
I think I've seen not so much my immediate family. I've seen like a lot of like extended family kind of go through certain circumstances, especially like what he's talking about, where they were kind of taken away from their father. And I think that from kind of just like when they talk about it, a lot of the time, like the father figure in their life was like something that was really almost detrimental in a way. They didn't have that like figure to like kind of teach them certain things. The same way like a girl, like if there wasn't a mother figure in their life, there's certain things like that are harder to learn and get accustomed to. And sometimes with them, they kind of said they became a product of their environment. Like sometimes their mother who kind of took custody dealt with a lot of different issues that kind of fell back on them, and they had to kind of grow up faster than what they should have.
Okay.
So.
And for you had your mom and dad, or no?
I did. Both my parents are happily together. Okay. Yes.
And then like married?
Married and together. Yep. All right. 26
Married
years.
and together?
Married and
I would
together.
hope.
She's so mentally ill and sick that she basically made her children go away. Physically. And now the dad has to deal with that for the rest of his life. He has to deal with the trauma of dealing with women and wanting children for the rest of his life. All because of the state not giving him full custody of the children. Now, should the state be punished for that? No, they're not going to do that. Hell, you even have the woman that's playing the victim card. That, oh, I wasn't in my right mind. I'm going to tell y'all this right now, fellas. You can't blame that. You can't blame that as to why you take away your child.
Oh, that's the question I thought of in my head. I can't try to relate to you. Throughout your relationships that you've been in, who, let's say percentage-wise, were you the breakup person or the other person was?
I've been the breakup person.
Okay. Goddamn. Shaking my head.
Yeah.
What are the reasons why you broke up? Would you say any of them were just like small, so small that they didn't matter in a sense?
I don't think they were so small that they didn't matter. Like, they weren't petty things. I think that it may not have necessarily been like, I mean, cheating's one thing. I have been cheated on, so that was a wrap for them. But like more like situationship type of things, like I kind of just like mentally find it in myself, like this isn't what I want, so it's not going to be something that I'm going to continue to pursue when I could just be single, like not have to worry about any of that stuff and just live my life. But,
And then for you personally, going forward, let's say you're 25, 30 or whatever, and you married, you have 2 kids, would cheating be a deal breaker for you?
I would say that it would be really tough because there are kids involved. And I think that, I mean, like I said, you're kind of a product of your environment. Like I've grown up with my parents like together and everything, and like that's what I want for myself and things. And I think like, you know, like they've taught me a lot of things being together about like what my ideas of like love are kind of shaped around like what I see at home.
Okay.
And so I think that cheating is something, it kind of depends. It depends on how like what the path is to like if there's a foreseeable path that we can work through this and this won't happen again, or if it's something that I'm thinking for myself and for my children, this is not the situation that I want to put them in as a mother.
Okay, got you. Okay, and so let's say I'm just paint a scenario so it's much easier.
Yes.
He was at a bar. He got drunk with his friends. It was a one night stand. He didn't know her prior, and he don't not really talking to her afterwards, and he just came to you and said it. That's the scenario. I made it very clear. So now what?
Like I said, I think honestly, like
Since you like honesty.
yeah, honestly, like the first thing I would think about would be, I mean, on like the first thing I would think about is myself, like how I'm feeling and everything, and I think it would be something that kind of crosses over to like, okay, like how does this affect my like our children and everything. And if it's something that I'm just like the situation is not strong enough to to affect me and my children, then, and it's something we can work through and something we can talk about, then it's worth trying to see if there's something to save. Okay. If there's not, then that's kind of when there's going to need to be a conversation of, okay, this isn't what's going to work for me. But I'm also not going to be the type to be like, you can't see your children, like none of that. Because I think that the father has every right to be in their children's life just as much as the mother does. Okay. And so. Okay. All right.
Well, let's see if I can pull any more things out of this that can relate to you.
Yeah.
But these are the times that we're living in today. Well, the man can never win. You're at a huge deficit at birth. You want kids? You at a deficit. You finna approach a woman? You at a deficit. It's like you can't even win unless you don't play.
Wait, what?
That's why I say be very careful on what woman you choose to have children with. Because it can end you. It can break you. You have to be wise in your decisions, dog, because this is not the only man that's going through this right now. You know who else went through this? My brother. My brother went through the same exact scenario right now, and it's the reason why he is mentally ill, because of a woman taking his kids away when she didn't have no right to take the kids away, when she was going through things. And when he was in his right mind, the state still gave the kids to her, and that made my brother sick still to this day. And I love my brother. I'm talking about my blood brother. He'll never be the same because of that situation. He'll never be the same because of that situation. He'll never be the father that he always wanted to be because of that situation where a woman did and what the state did. Now he's mentally ill. That's my brother though. I love him. That's my brother.
Okay, I thought of a question. So, goddamn, I just lost it. I thought of it, then I fucking lost it. I had that shit. Let's continue. I'll think about it again.
Oh my
God. I love him.
That's the question. All right.
Please.
So, for you personally, do you have to get married first before you even think about having kids? Or that's marriage is not something that's like something that you have to have or have to do?
My personal views on it, I'm going to get married before I have kids. Like, there's no negotiation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What if, okay, hold on. What if the guy you with, I'm talking about he's like the dream guy you with, etc. He says, hey, I just don't want to put a piece of paper on it But I do want to do everything else. Like we could do the ceremony, we could do all this other extra stuff, blah blah blah. But I just don't want to have the piece of paper and put the government inside our business. What would your thoughts be?
I think that he's entitled to that, and like his feelings are valid. I just know that's not what I want.
Okay, so then let's flip it. Let's say he just wants the paper and don't want the ceremony and don't want the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what matters more to you?
I think what matters more is probably between the two, the ceremony. I think I was thinking of it as like they both go hand in hand.
They don't.
But they don't. You're right. And so I think that the ceremony, like kind of like the celebration of what you guys share together would matter more to me because of the feelings. But like you can leave the legal stuff out of it because the legal stuff is just what the government wants, like to joint accounts, like all of that stuff. But I think that the ceremony matters more because it's like a celebration of like what you guys have together and what you guys have built.
Okay. Okay, but that didn't answer the question.
Oh,
You're
did it
skating
not?
around the question. Would you be okay with just the ceremony and not the piece of paper?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I had to choose one,
So
yeah.
no.
If I had to choose one between the paper or the ceremony with no paper, I would choose the ceremony with no paper. Okay.
Would you be raising fits and be, accepting of that, or would you be literally trying to fight for that piece of paper, fight for that certificate, I should say?
I would have to understand what their reasonings were behind it.
Because there's no benefit for men to get married.
Ooh.
The fuck? In actuality, marriage is a contract, and actually you as a woman is actually benefiting by breaking that contract, which is alimony, which is like 90% of the guys pay to the woman, child support, all that stuff, all that shit. It benefits you, not us.
I think, unpopular opinion, I think that's valid. I think just as women try and protect themselves, men should be entitled to protect themselves too. And if that's the way that they see fit, then
Miss Political, I'm talking about you personally.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, that's how I'm gonna view the situation. It's just like, it may not be what I want, but I can understand where they're coming from. So that's a compromise that I could make for those reasons. If it's just like, oh, I don't want to go to court, like, I'm gonna be like,
so guys, future guys that's about to marry her, remember my reasoning.
Remember the reasoning.
Remember the reasoning. Don't benefit. All right, let's try to finish up.
Message to guys out here. I don't want this to be you. Be careful with the woman that you choose. If the peace sleeve is good, then it just strictly needs to be you digging her out till she busts. That's all it should be. That's all it should be.
Okay, I think we can end it with that. We can end it with that because I already know with this video, and so I can actually end it with this question for you. What makes you want to be more than just the peace sleeve, in a sense? What makes you actually want to have a relationship with a guy and future, things, endeavors, versus just the have fun shit?
I think the have fun shit, I think both, if you're being honest, both are temporary, right?
Okay.
In some sense, like the having fun, I think is more temporary because I think that, but like there's a certain level of commitment with being more than that. I think for me personally, I think that while I love like the independence and traveling and doing whatever I want and everything, I think that a lot of it comes from like wanting someone on an intimate level to share that with.
Okay.
And so that's kind of one of those things, like the commitment level comes a lot from the time you guys put into each other to go do those things and to experience all those things together with the added like intimacy of being together on a romantic level. And so I think that's what attracts me to that instead of just having fun, because I think that I'm someone who has really prided and like taught myself a lot about you don't need anyone to have fun. You can have fun completely on your own.
I would agree.
But at the same time, like that is something, if it came to me, that is something I would take the opportunity. I think if an opportunity knocks, you should take it, see where it goes. But that's dependent on kind of what you
Have you
want.
been an initiator though, in a sense? Like me and like you got into, I guess, a fun ship with somebody, and then you was like, hey, this is, I actually want more from this situation. What are the qualities, I guess, the guy had that made you be like, hey, I want more from this shit?
I think so. It really so I have mental check boxes.
Okay, what are the checkoffs?
So the check boxes, which I've talked about, is honesty is obviously one of them, and everything. Communication is another big one, and then on top of that, trust. Those are my top 3.
Okay. Really quick conversation on trust, because I had this conversation with someone recently. What about trust? Because my perspective is this about trust. I rather of actions of trust, if that makes sense.
Yes.
For instance, what is the password to your Instagram? Not necessarily I'm going to be going through your Instagram all the time, but just give me what's the password to it, versus I trust that you don't talk to niggas on your Instagram. So my perspective is just, if we going to even go that route, just let me have the password to your Instagram and that be done type of thing. What are your thoughts on trust? Should it be blind faith trust, or should it be actions in a sense to be trusted?
Actions.
Okay.
You should never, I don't think that anyone, whether it be a guy or a girl, man or woman, anything like that, should blindly trust anyone.
Okay.
I just don't think that's kind of just setting yourself up. Yeah, it could work out, but a lot of times it doesn't necessarily work out the way you think it's going to in your head. And so I think that actions speak a lot louder than words do.
Okay. If a guy says, hey, I don't want you having girls' nights because I don't trust that, what y'all do on y'all girls' nights, which a lot of times, y'all be sucking and fucking out here. Let's keep it a buck. He says, I don't want you, and this is a serious relationship. It's not even a fun ship. This is this is a real boyfriend type of shit. Would you be obliged for his wishes, I guess? Or would you be like, nah, fuck you, nigga, I'm still gonna go out?
Yeah, I'd say fuck you.
Okay. All right.
I'm an independent individual first.
Okay.
There are certain things that you can compromise, and whether you think again, it comes back to the actions of trust. If I've shown you that I can do that stuff and not do it, then I don't. But again, it's also what I will say, devil's advocate. It is hard to monitor shit like that.
Yeah. So I was about to say, from the guy's perspective, why would he let a piece of, not necessarily calling it a piece of meat, but why would we let a piece of meat into the lion's den, knowing when you go to, and I'm talking about, I want to be very specific, I'm talking about bars and clubs. I'm not talking about girls' night to bowling or to lunch. I'm talking about specifically bars and clubs. He says, hey, I don't want you going to bars and clubs. You still gonna be like, nah, fuck you, I'm out.
I mean, me personally, it's part of my job on some level.
Okay,
so I'd be like,
gotcha.
no,
if it wasn't part of your job.
If it wasn't part of my job, I'd still say no.
God damn.
I'd still say no.
Can't
I like to dance. I like to have if that's what we want to do and that's what we're feeling we're gonna do. Come with us. If you want to.
But what if he's sick one day, or he just don't have the time, or he's working or whatever, but he just don't want you to come? And let's say he comes with you occasionally, but this time he can't, and he says, hey, I don't want you going, without me to a bars and clubs.
Okay, that's different. If he comes on occasion, it's not 100% strict, you can't do this. I don't like control like that.
Okay.
Because it comes off, it's just very I can't.
Here we go. Let's get it. No, let's have this conversation.
Okay.
What the fuck is the difference between control and actually setting boundaries?
I think you can set boundaries, but I think I don't think I could not ask my significant other, I could not just be I don't want you going to bars and clubs. Okay. Because I could think of it on you could reverse it, and I could think I don't know
Cap.
Girls these days.
Cap. No, they're not. Girls these days are not going up to average dudes to fuck them. If you with a regular dude, an average dude, then girls are not coming up to you like that. Matter of fact, you're not even going up to them and fucking them on the average like that. If you talk about again the top level nigga who's 6 feet, six figures, etc., blah blah blah, of course. But if you're not talking about the average dude, it's not the same when you compare it and flip it. Nah, hell no. So continue though. Invalid, but continue.
Invalid.
God, I'm stuck.
Stuck.
So when it comes to relationships, when it comes to what's the difference between the boundaries and control? Like, what's the difference between a guy's telling you, hey, I just don't, I can't accept, you going out to bars and clubs. That's just my boundary, versus him saying that and that's being controlling.
I think the difference, in my opinion, from boundaries and control, boundaries you can have a conversation about. Control to me is like a demand, and that's where I'm just like, no, sorry, I'm not about it.
No, because a boundary could be, hey, I don't want you fucking another nigga. Is that a boundary or control?
But if you're with me, I think that says something if you think that's what's gonna happen.
What do you mean? Bitches cheat all the time.
Yeah, but would you date someone who would cheat?
No. But I'm saying this is me, this is a personal thing now. So when it comes to every single person that I deal with, I literally reset how I communicate to them, because everybody's different.
Okay.
Some people go into relationships and it could be literally they mind is open relationship. Some people go into relationship and they mind is literally 100% monogamous. You can't even look at a bitch direction. So each one that you deal with is going to be different. They're going to have different, I guess, boundaries and their own things that they have going on. So you can't necessarily go and date you that might be open as fuck and might, care if you swing or whatever, versus someone else who literally, I don't know, might be Hispanic and crazy and might key your car if you even look at another girl's direction. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So me personally, I always look at it and reset. So going back to you and your question, what is the difference between the boundaries and then just being controlling? Because I personally think it's all boundaries. It's never controlling. Because you always have the option to leave. Me personally, control is more like I got a gun to your head and I'm making you do something. Versus I'm telling you, hey, if you got male friends, I'm not going to take you serious. Or if you go to fucking the bars and clubs, you can go to the bars and clubs. Again, that's on you, but I'm just not going to take it serious.
Take it serious.
Exactly.
Okay, then that yeah, I can see what you're talking about. Wording.
Damn, what the fuck? So wording makes the difference between controlling and boundaries.
No, I think that when you sat here and like explained what your like perspective, that's I think what I agree with.
Okay.
I think as long as like if someone's telling you like, okay, this isn't what I want, and you're just like, well, I'm gonna do it and everything, I think that as long as it doesn't become this form of manipulation. Like, you're right. Everyone has the option to leave. I don't want any,
I be hating your wording, though. Because I hate that word manipulate, because it's not a bad thing, but most people put it as a bad connotation towards that.
No, and it's not a bad thing. And that's where, like, the big thing that you said is everyone has the option to leave.
Always.
At all times.
Yeah, unless you're crazy ass nigga.
Yes, and so if you were to come to me and be like, I don't want you going to bars and clubs, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go, and you're gonna be like, okay. Well,
right, you do.
That's a wrap. See you later.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, well, like, why the fuck, like, blah blah. No,
Gotcha.
No, because at that point, it's just like I decided this is what I want to do and everything. If I've given you that answer, then hopefully you've thought about like what you're about to say before you give that answer.
Yeah.
And just in the same way, you're not willing to compromise.
Yeah. As you shouldn't, fellas.
You shouldn't. I don't think you should compromise your values, like what you expect, or like what, not values, but like boundaries on what you want out of something. And if they're not giving you what you want, then that wasn't it.
Okay. And then final question: have you ever changed your boundaries or your values for someone to be like, for someone else, basically? Meaning, like, you wasn't accepting, I don't know, a guy, I don't know, sleep with a girl, but then you met this one dude and he was like, I'm sleeping with girls, and you're like, okay.
No.
Okay. Have you ever, like, not, because that's an extreme boundary, obviously, have you ever had a boundary, but then certain dudes passed that boundary?
Yes.
And you was accepting of?
Except, I don't think I was accepting of it, but they did pass the boundary.
Okay.
But I was like, damn.
I'm calling cap.
No, it'd just be like, it would become a problem later on.
Okay.
Because then it would continue to happen. And the fact that I wasn't direct at the first point in time, it was almost like I was kind of the shit starter in a way, because
Okay.
since I didn't address it, they're gonna it's gonna become a problem later, and they're gonna be like, well, this wasn't a problem before, and it's kind of on you, because it's like you didn't even tell me.
Yeah.
I think I've been guilty of that. But as I think that's what's like important. Like some girls like won't accept like that, they won't take responsibility for that measure. Some girls won't take responsibility for that measure.
Most girls won't take responsibility for
a lot
nothing.
of girls won't
or
take
accountability.
Yeah, or accountability. But if you can't take accountability, how are you supposed to learn and progress in that relationship? How? You can't do
Clip
it.
that.
Literally.
Clip that.
Yep. That's it. Like it's as simple as that. But if you can be like, okay, like, yeah, I'm not okay with this. I should have said something earlier. Take responsibility. Okay, then you guys can have a conversation.
Yeah,
but
then if he does it again, then you see. Okay,
then it's something else. But you don't flip the script on him and be like, well, you. No, like reflect and be like, okay, I should have said something from the beginning.
And a lot of women, you should have known this. No.
They can't read your mind.
Yeah.
So
when you go into relationships, are you already automatically assuming that it's gonna be monogamous?
No.
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay.
I'm not assuming that. I won't assume. I mean, of course, like, I think me as a person, sometimes I make internal assumptions, but I'm not going to act out on those assumptions, because I'm just going to take things for what those conversations were about those things.
Okay, here we go.
So if there was no conversation about, oh, we're monogamous, I'm not going to assume you're going to be monogamous.
That's what I was about to say. So let's say you get into a relationship and you didn't have a conversation about that, and he fucked somebody else, but he's like completely honest with you, like, oh yeah, last night I was hanging at Buckhead and I fucked somebody. Just letting you know.
It is what it is. At that point, we didn't talk about it, so there was nothing like that was said. Like there was no conversation about that, so I can't sit there and assume. Because what if the whole time that's exactly what you thought it was going to be, just an open situation, and I thought it was something different. That's why you have to talk to make sure you're on the same page. And if you're not, then you can't really get mad at something you never had a conversation about.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Chidera, CHIDERAAA.XO.
All right, that long ass fucking. If you want to follow her, the link will be in the description below. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Join the Patreon army. Help us get independent. And we out. Peace.